Everyone, today we are going to discuss about history and origin of psychology. What is the history and how it is originated and in which century it is originated, and all those things we are discussing, and some school of thoughts in psychology that we are going to discuss in this video. Before going to the topic, we will see today's quote, and today's quote is: a smile is an inexpensive way to improve your look. So just smile. Of course, a smile can improve your brain stimulus, and smile can improve your physical and psychological activities. So when you see someone, when you talk to someone, when you greet someone, when you go to a grocery shop or anywhere, while waving your hand along with that, give a smile. Definitely that will boost your relationship, and that will definitely help to go forward with positive vibes. So please smile while listening this video, while watching this video. Of course, please do a smile and listen. Okay, so a smile is an inexpensive way. No need of paying even a single penny for that. So smile is an inexpensive way to improve your look. So just smile. That will increase your beauty. Your outside and inside, both beauty will increase. So guys, please smile, and we will go to the video. While thinking about the history of psychology, psychology means study of human mind. By studying the history of psychology, you can gain a better knowledge of the psychology studied and what we can learn from that. So, psychology means what? Psychology. Logy means study, and psycho is something related to mind. Psychology means what? Study of mind. Okay, so while studying the history, you can gain a better knowledge how it happened, how it's happening, how the this separate scientific disciplines is originated, and how we are studying, and what are all the things we have discussed in previous centuries, and in which position we are now. So to understand that, history will help a lot. Psychology has been faced a lot of questions, and still we have lot of questions regarding the origin of psychology, definition of psychology, etc. So while reading of history, some questions I found. Okay, these are all that questions. Okay, what is the meaning of psychology? According to you, what is the meaning of psychology? What is the meaning of psychology? Still, there are a lot of debates are happening over this field. Is psychology is really a science, or it is a myth? Okay, whether it is a scientific discipline or it is a myth, that is another question. Whether psychology will help us to human behavior, human being, or the behavior of human being. Actually, whether this will help to learn the behavior of a human being, there is a question mark always. You can think what we are studying in psychology. That is another question. We can see lot of theories, models, everything, and actually for what purpose? Actually, this is a myth or science. So, lot of questions we can see while thinking about psychology or while looking into the history of psychology. While coming to the history, until 1800, psychology was not emerged as a separate discipline to study, guys. Until 1800, psychology was not emerged as a separate discipline to study. Early history of psychology is getting from early Greek people, and they have used two techniques. Or in ancient time, two techniques the psychologists or the psychiatrists or the philosophers have used to study psychology. They are observation and logic. From the observation and by using the logic. So observation and logic was the major technique used to study psychology during the ancient time. While coming to the 17th century, René Descartes, a French philosopher, introduced the idea of dualism, which explained that mind and body are two separate identities. Dualism. Du means what? Two. So dualism. So the theory by René Descartes is that mind and body are two separate identities. Okay, in the school of thought of psychological history, that's the first history. So mind and body are two separate identity, and that theory is known as dualism. Early study on brain has severe impact on psychology study. So two things we can see in 17th century mainly. There are a lot of things are there, but main things only I'm telling. Okay, so dualism, and it explaining that mind and body are two separate identity. Second thing is early study on brain has severe impact on psychology study. Next thing is structuralism. That is another school of thought, and that is considering as the first school of thought in psychology. Edward Titchener, another psychologist, found psychology's first school of thought. According to structuralism, consciousness of human being can be broken down into smaller parts. Okay, so consciousness, it can be broken down into smaller part. At a time we think a lot. Okay, not only we are thinking about one matter. While taking this video, I am thinking a different kind of thing, same way. So our consciousness of human being can be broken down into smaller parts, but this method was unreliable and subjective. And when Chishner died, structuralism also died with him. Next thing is, while coming to the mid 1800s, psychology flourished in a very good way in USA. Then William James, an American psychologist, published a book named Principles of Psychology. Okay, then he is known as the father of American psychology. He talks about functionalism. That is another school of thought in psychology. It means how people live in the society and how behavior works to help people live in their environment. So how the people are living and how their behavior will help them to live in this environment. So this is the meaning of functionalism. How the people are functioning in this world and how their behavior will help to live in this environment. That is functionalism, and it is explained by William James, and he is an American psychologist and he is known as the father of American psychology. Later, Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, changed the face of psychology by explaining the theory of personality and unconscious mind. He said that unconscious impulse will definitely influence the development of adult personality and behavior. Next, while coming to 1913, another school of thought we can see, that is behaviorism. John Watson is an American psychologist, explained about this behaviorism, and he published his ideas in the journal called Psychology as the Behaviorists Views It. Behaviorism saying that human psychology is the behavior of human being. Human psychology is the behavior of human being. My behavior is my psychology. So human behavior means simply the behavior of human being. Then while coming to the 19th century, in the 19th century we can hear two names, and that names known as the founder names of psychology. And the names were Wundt and William James. William Wundt opened the first psychology school in 1879 at the University of Lipsk, and this event is considered the official start of psychology as a separate and distinct scientific section to study. Okay, so in 19th century, lot of good things we can see, or lot of new development we can see in the field of psychology. Okay, so we got two important names, Wundt and William James, and this Wundt opened the first psychology school in 1879 at the University of Lipsk, and this event considered as the official start of psychology as a separate and distinct scientific section to study. While coming to 20th century, two halves we can see, first half and second half. First half was completely talking about psychoanalysis by Sigmund Freud and behaviorism. Then in second half, a new school of thought about human psychology by Carl Rogers we can see, and it was emerged in the second half of 20th century, and this period is also known as the third force in psychology. And another important name we can see in 20th century is Abraham Maslow. He is another psychologist. He talked about humanistic psychology with the help of his theory, and that his theory's name is theory of human hierarchy of needs. What is human hierarchy of needs? In very simple way I will tell you. It means that people have different levels of needs. I have different levels of need. You have different level of needs. Needs in the sense wish. Okay. After completing low level of needs or low level of wish, we will go to the higher level of needs. Okay. After completing first year only, you will go to second year, or after completing KG, we will go to next first standard, second standard. So we have some levels in our needs also, in our wish also. So first we will complete the low level needs. After that we will go to the next level needs, next level needs. Okay guys, so here we can see a hierarchy or order we can see in completing the needs. Next, another school of thought is structuralism by William Wundt. He was a German scientist referred to as a psychologist. He wrote a book named Principles of physiological psychology, and that was published in 1873. According to him, psychology as a scientific study of conscious experience. Okay, so according to him, psychology as a scientific study, it is a scientific discipline, study or scientific study of conscious experience. And he said that goal of psychology is to find out the meaning and component of this conscious experience. And he used a method to find out the meaning and component of this conscious experience, and that method is internal perception or introspection to find out the components and meaning of consciousness. So this is the another school of thought we can see in the history of psychology. Structuralism by the psychologist name what? The name of the psychologist is William Wundt. Next, William James. Another name which we can see in the founders of psychiatry. Functionalism. He was introduced to Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection and used to explain the characteristic features of each organism. According to him, psychology's purpose was to study the function of behavior of each individual. So according to him, the purpose of the psychology or psychologist's purpose was to study the function of behavior of each individual. Functionalism focused on how mental activities help in individual to fit this environment. So how the mental activities will help to stay in this environment. And one more thing we can see in this functionalism, that is functionalism focusing on the whole mind activities rather than a specific operation. Next, while coming to the history, another things which we can see means German psychologist named Gestalt Werthmer from 1880 to 1943. Another psychologist Kurt Kafka from 1886 to 1941, and another psychologist Wolfgang Kohler from 1887 to 1967. Who migrated, these all people, okay, migrated or immigrated from Germany to USA in the 20th century and introduced psychology in USA. And another thing which we can see in the history is the Russian psychologist Ivan Pavlov from 1849 to 1936 studied about learning behavior, and that learning behavior, that process is called as conditional reflex learning. Next school of thought we can see in the history of psychology is humanism. Later, psychologists began to form their own ideas about personal control, self-concept, and behavior, and thus the ideas of humanism emerged. Humanism. Humanism is a perspective within psychology that talks about the potential for good that is innate to all human beings. The main figures in this humanistic theory are Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. So these are all the things we can see in the history of psychology. So psychology means the study of human mind, and still there are lot of debates are happening over the field of psychology to find out the answer for studying what is psychology, what is the meaning of psychology. Either it is a scientific discipline or it is a myth, or whether psychology will helps to learn our behavior. Hope you understand. Thank you.